Some of our local mayors have something to say about GOP legislation that might be going up for a vote. I think it's like $600 million worth of some support for border operations, more judges, I guess some help for the communities here in South Texas responding to the flood of illegal immigrants coming from Central America. But some of our mayors have something to say about that legislation. Among them is Brownsville Mayor Tony Martinez. Mayor, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us today. So you and Mayor Jim Darling from McAllen, I know Edinburgh Mayor Richard Garcia, I guess some other folks. What was the message that you were trying to convey yesterday?
Well, I think the idea was that, first of all, that the border is safe. We do need funding. We do need due process. But it's kind of a mixed message. We have a humanitarian effort going, and we also have an economic impact adverse message that says, don't try to tell us that we're not a safe community, and don't avoid coming down here for economic reasons.
Okay, let's flesh that one out, because you keep in touch with your very successful economic development offices, and I know that Jim and Richard, they have very successful offices over here for EDC as well. So what has been on the front lines of recruitment? What has been the reaction so far? Have you seen some negative recoil on that one?
Yeah, there has been negative recoil. I think basically on the National Guard front, and it's not so much that they're going to not come at this particular point. I think it's more reassurance that everything is okay. Everything is going to be fine. And because we're far along. I think Jim and Richard do a terrific job with their economic development, and I think we're all being competitive and yet very supportive of one another, because what's good for the Upper Valley is good for Brownsville, and what's good for Brownsville is good for the Upper Valley. So, and we're kind of enjoying it all. So,
but it has required a few extra phone calls from your EDC chiefs to other folks that might seem a bit nervous and telling, hey, let me explain to you what's going on. So you've had to do a little extra work.
A little bit of extra work, but it's like I said, it's not something we can't tackle. It's like I said, it's not overwhelming. It's just kind of like, why don't we calm down? I think this congressional session has just been a lot of what I say, a lot of crises hollering.
Yeah.
And it looks like they're probably going to go into today, and I have no idea what they're going to pass or not pass.
There's a good chance that some of these individuals in D.C., more of them, will come to Deep South Texas and take a tour. Are you ready for them?
We're ready. We're ready. Like I said, it's nothing I'm ashamed of. To be honest with you guys, the people that have responded to the situation are just terrific people. Our Valley people are wonderful.
Brownsville Mayor Tony Martinez joining us on 710 KURV.
Yeah, Mayor Tim Sullivan here. So you are among those, I guess, a little bit wary of the National Guard deployment, right?
Yeah, and like I said, I have yet to see exactly what the plan is, to be honest with you. I've been trying to find out from our law enforcement people, and they seem to also not have any idea exactly what the plan is.
Yeah, so there are a lot of questions there. There's a lot of questions about where the money for the deployment being spent on that is coming from as well. We spoke with Attorney General Greg Abbott yesterday morning on the program, and he says these troops will, in fact, of course, some folks here say that they send the wrong message to businesses. Just their presence in military uniforms kind of sends a negative message. The Attorney General says, in fact, they send a message that they're keeping the region safe. Do you buy that?
No. Again, look out your window. I'm not sure what he's saying, but I'm seeing a pretty calm, cool condition out there. There's nothing out there that should cause alarm. I mean, we have some folks that are coming across. It's not healthy. It's not legal. We need to figure out, why they're coming. And again, trust me when I tell you, I think our trickle is down to about 18 to 20 people a day.
In the Brownsville area.
In the Brownsville area.
Yeah.
And if you talk to the Border Patrol, if they're allowed to visit with you, which I have, right now there'll be a slowdown period, but there is a slowdown period every time, every year at this time.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, we're not looking at something that's totally out of whack. Other than there's a larger number of folks, and now what's going to happen 6 weeks from now or 8 weeks from now, we don't know.
Yeah.
But I think we need to sit down and look across the aisle and say, no, here's what we really need.
Are you concerned that lawmakers in D.C. might ignore the issue, might get distracted? They're always chasing squirrel. Squirrel! There's a new one for them to chase all the time. Do you suspect that maybe in the 5-week period that they go on vacation, they have other things to worry about? And, of course, it's an election year, that they might forget about the problems here on the border and the extra flood of Central Americans? Because the Border Patrol chief was with us on Monday and said, yeah, it's not the high water mark, but we're still, halfway to the high water mark, which is still much, much higher than we normally see here in South Texas,
Yeah, no, there was a greater influx this year, and I'm sure for various reasons. I'm not sure that everybody knows exactly why. I happen to be in contact with a lot of the, charitable organizations and NGOs, and these folks have been tracking all of these numbers for 5 or 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
And I think if I were a congressman, I think that's where I would go to find out the real facts and avoid the rhetoric and go with reality. But again, right now, the politics is such a hyper ventilation type of industry that I don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate.
Mayor, are you willing personally to entertain the possibility, because in the interviews that I've conducted and other journalists, other people have conducted initially on the days that we saw the flood down here, and looking at their testimony and the fact that they were looking at an opportunity to come and stay in the country because they heard through a family member, through a friend, that there was an opportunity for them to stay and come and declare themselves, whatever they needed to do to get the permiso to come into the country. Are you willing to consider that as a possibility? Because we've seen the numbers balloon, as you said, for several years now. 9,000 about 3 years ago, then 20,000 the following year, then 40,000, and then we were on track to 90 to 100,000 this year. And everybody's saying, well, they're calling family back home saying, hey, come on in, Tio, come on, send the kids because we made it in.
Well, I'm willing to listen to anything. I think if we don't keep an open mind, we'll never get, this resolution done. But I've sat and talked and seen and heard from some of these families and some of these kids and some of their representatives. There's a lot of violence, and there's no question Honduras is probably the most. Well,
it's pretty messed up.
They tell me it's the most dangerous place in
per capita the crime rate is pretty bad down there. But it's also really bad just south of us with the Zetas and the Golfo cartel and the kids that are being recruited to be foot soldiers down there, and they don't get any special treatment as far as asylum. Mayor, thank you for your time. We'll keep in touch, and thanks for joining us on 710 KURV.